Okay, so this guy here, legend, Nicholas Luhmann. So this particular story has been told many times, I'm sure. He's the originating character from, I guess, the zettelkasten system. So I won't go into too much depth, but I think it's important to understand the story behind this, and then we'll tie it back in. So, absolute freak, German sociologist in the 50s, I think. 50 books, wrote 50 books and 600 articles. So he was either on something or he was doing something very well. And it was the system. So this is zettelkasten system. There's so much good stuff online about this. I first heard about it from a book that was recommended. The book is called How to Take Smart Notes. It's a super short book. You should definitely read it. And you can do so over a weekend. And it goes through the whole story in the zettelkasten system. So just to explain really briefly how it works. So back when he did this, it was all pen and paper. He was able to produce so much good stuff, do so much good research because he had this system. Definitely wasn't digital at the time. And the idea behind this system is basically three part. So there's three major components to it. Fleeting notes. So the fleeting notes are basically just fleeting ideas that one has when they're walking, sitting on the toilet, yada yada. Then you have literature notes. So if you're listening to a podcast, reading a book, you're taking, I guess, more formal notes. And then you have permanent notes. Okay, so these are the more finely abstracted, well-written notes that come from the fleeting notes and that come from the literature notes. So fleeting notes, literature notes, permanent notes. So everything is interconnected, and the permanent notes are distilled from the fleeting and literature notes. So the magic is really, I guess, in these three rules, which is that only one atomic note per idea. So think building blocks. Each idea must be expressed super clearly enough. Put yourself in the position of a reader who has no context. So it's explained very well, simple terms. And ideas always need to be connected. I shouldn't say should here. Ideas are always connected to other ideas in the system. So I think if you don't have time to read the book, I found a really amazing video this morning, which I've shared in the article, and I'll also share in the description wherever you're watching this. And the real power of this, I think, if you strip everything back, is just this idea of compression, abstraction, and modular thinking. So without going too far into the system itself, this is just really about forcing yourself into a system where you are ingesting material, content, ideas. You're compressing it into a really simple form and then kind of rephrasing it or abstracting it into your own words and connecting it to your other ideas, because this is really how we learn. And there's lots of interesting discussions now about the nature of intelligence and how intelligence is possibly a form of just compression and decompression and abstraction, and then rebuilding those abstractions. Okay, what do I want to say next? So I'm going to go through just a few things here from the article, and then we'll dive into the actual platform itself. So I've said here the vendor lock-in tension. So I'm going to jump over here. When you're using ChatGPT, or when you're using Claude or Grok, I like to use all of these tools. Maybe you use one of them, maybe you have a favorite. They really don't incentivize you doing a system like this, which everybody should be doing. Every person involved in some kind of knowledge work should do this. In the book, they basically said the value of somebody's knowledge work should be gauged by how many of these polished notes they're able to abstract themselves. So yeah, when we're using these systems, these new language models, which are fantastic, amazing tools, they unfortunately don't incentivize you to do this. They kind of incentivize you to outsource your thinking, right? You're not actually building your knowledge. knowledge graph or your knowledge base in a way that's going to be sustainable and robust, and actually help you to think through the things that you need to think through, the things that you need to write, the things that you need to research. They have things like projects, which are great. You can kind of group your stuff here into these projects, but it just doesn't make sense for them. It's like a misaligned incentive situation. It doesn't make sense for them to help you build a database or a knowledge graph separate from their system, separate from their service. So we might call this vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in just means you've got these platforms that have different incentives. They just want to keep you on here chatting, and then all of your ideas, the way that you connect ideas together, your research process, it's all lost in these chats. It's a chat-centric situation here, and all of the good stuff is lost, more or less. So what I want to say here is the alternative to this is building this external knowledge graph. Now, many of you will be familiar with tools like Obsidian or Notion. These are amazing tools. They allow you to do something like this Zettelkast system in a digital form. I've used them a lot. I love Obsidian, I love Notion. And now, especially Obsidian is a good example. Now Obsidian is integrating they have like a really amazing community platform where people are able to develop integrations, and you're starting to see now the integration of these language models to your Obsidian bases or vaults, so that you can interact with your knowledge base with these language models, which I think is really great. Unfortunately, it's not really AI native, so this is why I built ra. With AI, you kind of have this opportunity to integrate AI at every level of the stack to help you build, design, and organize the knowledge base, and then also to do the research, and then to help with whatever your final output or artifact is. So Obsidian, fantastic to have your own sovereign local knowledge base and to graph things out, not AI native. So I built this system for myself. Okay, so I think what I will do now is try to switch over to ra, and I can do this. Yes, okay. So this is the tool. There's a really generous free option here, so please check it out if this is of interest to you. Basically on the left here, this is my database. So when you download this application, you're seeding your own local SQLite database. Similar to Obsidian, but Obsidian uses markdown files in a local file directory. This is local, this is yours. It's just SQLite, it just plays better. You're able to train and to tune the models to interact with the SQLite database a little bit better than you can with just vanilla markdown files. So I'm going to run you through how I kind of composed this article that I wrote here. Let me zoom out so you can see this. Okay, so I had this idea for an article for ra, which was about zettelkasten and how it inspired the design and the creation of this tool that I've built. And the main thing to take away here is like, these ideas don't exist in silo. This is what the method teaches, right? Ideas don't exist in silo. This is why he was able to create so much, because he had a really good system for documenting his thought process and having this modular building block approach to research and to the composition of papers. So I had this idea about zettelkasten, how it inspired the development of ra. I come over here into the system, and there's many different ways to do this, right? Like every time I have a new thing that I want to do, something I want to write, something I want to research, it's going to look a little bit different. The first thing I will do is pull into context the different nodes or the different items that make up, that I know that are going to compose, or the building blocks for this article that I want to write here. Okay, so I've already thought about this so much. I just need to kind of stick these building blocks together. So I've already written the article, but I'll show you how this would normally work. So I've got a note in here for the book itself. I have a note in here for compression, abstraction, and modular thinking. This is an idea that I've had for a while and how it relates to zettelkasten. I have other related nodes in here, right? Like this is a conversation with Terence Deacon and Michael Levin they talk about compression, intelligence as compression. And then because I haven't read the book for a little while, How to Take Smart Notes or the Zettelkasten system, I also want to bring into my database some new material. So let me jump back over here to, to this screen here. And this is a really, really great beginner's guide to Zettelkasten. So I use this to refresh my memory. I grab the URL, and there's also an article here, a paper by Jürgen Schmidhuber about compression. He's a really amazing AI researcher who's done a lot of thinking and research and work on compression. So I want to bring these two ideas into the database, or these two resources into the database. So I've grabbed the first URL, and I can come here to the Add Stuff Quick section, and boom, I'm going to drop the YouTube URL, and then I'm also going to grab the paper URL here and drop that as well. So you can kind of see here, if I zoom in, I can't zoom in. Those two resources have now been added here into my database, and I would embed. I'm going to embed them anyway. They're already in the database. I just added it to show you, but I'm going to embed them. That chunks the material into kind of semantically coherent sections, and then that's able for the models to then go and vector search and retrieve information. Great, so yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of pull all these different things that I want to compose the new article into context here for the model. And then probably the next thing I'm going to do here is kind of compose the article structure. Yeah, so again, I've already done this, but I'll just show you here what this looked like for me this morning. So here I'm in easy mode, and I'm going to use easy mode to help me kind of flesh out the skeleton of the article. And so I've just prompted in here, this is the structure of the new article I want to write. You see the connected nodes. You see where this is going. I'm just trying to prompt it to help gain some context. And I would prompt this in here. And then most of the time when I do this, I'm just using Super Whisper to voice, to speak into the prompt section here. So yes, this is clear. It's pulled everything into context. So the thing here, this is what I was speaking about before, right? Now the model that we're interacting with, it's been tuned and trained and prompted to understand that it's working with the user's knowledge base, and it always needs to focus or prioritize any contextual nodes or the nodes that are in focus. So right now I can see all of these things that I have in focus here, and then I would just say something like, hey, can you please create a new draft skeleton node for this new article that I want to write? Great, so now it's going to take my brief notes here, and it's going to create a new node for me. So as we, it's just creating the node. As we discussed before, it's really like the connections between ideas and nodes. That's where the real juice is. And so what I'm also doing here is linking up, creating edges, which are just basically connections between these different nodes. And that helps the models that I'm interacting with also build a bit of a map for how I'm thinking and how to put things together. So we now have this new skeleton, and you can see here that it's pulled in these smart labels with all of the different nodes that it wants to that make up the article itself, which is great. What I would normally do here is run a workflow. I'll spin up a workflow here that would then run back through my database and try to find any existing relevant information, and then update this. It'll spin up a new agent to do that for you. I'm not going to do that right now because for this particular article, I already knew exactly what I wanted to do and what nodes I wanted to compose the new article of. But that's an option there. You could just pop in here, hey, can you run the, I'll just show you anyway. Hey, can you please run the integrate workflow on this node? So it'll take some time. It'll spin off another orchestrator agent, and that agent's going to spend some time searching Reddit, searching the web, searching back through my database, and it will come back and update whatever it thinks is most interesting. So we can see that running over here. I'll jump back to that when it starts kind of pushing out the reasoning traces. All right, what do I want to say next? So yeah, in this case, what I actually did was I created like a debrief and then went for a walk with Grok. And then I was just able to speak out and flesh out the article using Grok. I just like to go for a walk and not be stuck in front of the computer all day. So that's what I did. That's what I did this time. Now, if I'm happy with how this is fleshed out, I would probably flick over to hard mode here. So you see we have hard mode, easy mode. At the moment, hard mode is using Claude 4.5 Sonnet. I usually flick over to Claude if I want to actually start really building out the idea or writing. Okay, so something else I guess to say here is I'm not a very good writer. Like, I'm okay. The reason I write is to think and not to write. I know that Claude 4.5 is going to do a much better job writing than me, so I'm trying to focus my attention here on the building blocks and how I compose the article. So I would basically take everything that I had here and then, you know, here is the draft. Hey, here is the draft skeleton of an article that I want to write. Can you please create me a more polished article as a new node in the database? Okay. So it can go to work now. It's taken into context all of these different nodes. It's also got these contextual nodes here, so it knows my writing style. It knows how I like it to write. So it's got some specific instructions and prompting there. And it was going to write me the new article and then put it in here. And then that's more or less ready to publish to my website. That's more or less all I wanted to say here. I wanted to show you, yeah, so this is the other agent that's running this integrate workflow that I spoke about before. It's still running there, so that'll be finished in a minute or two. And then you can see here the hard mode ra, which is composing this new article for me and creating a new node. And this is basically what I use to publish the blog, give or take a few small tweaks. Right on. So if this is of interest to you, please go and download the app. It's available on the Mac Store now. There's a free version, right? So you're basically able to, the free will be free forever. You can build your own local knowledge base and that will be free. And then you also get like some generous tokens that you can use to interact with these models, and that will be free. And then you just pay for the paid plan if you want more tokens. Okay, if you're using this heavily, the other option is you can always plug something like Claude Code into your database and interact with it. It's just going to be more seamless here if you're using the agents that are within the app. Oh, here's my new article. Yeah, so this is fucking really good. Like, this is another discussion which I talk about, but man, if your artifact is just the final output, the article, you need to reassess that, because these models are getting really, really good at producing polished prose, producing code. yeah, anyway, that's a side tangent. Okay, so let me flick over here so I can show you if anybody is interested. You can just go to the site here. It's a Mac app at the moment. You can click download for Mac. You can download this newest version. And when it gets to your Mac, you can sign up for free, start using it, and yeah, ping me. I don't have many customers at the moment, so you're going to get lots of first-class feedback. And I'd love to see, hear how you're using the tool. Ciao.